Hey guys, it's about beer 30. Let's take a walk into the kitchen and see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for talking about Gregsbeerreviews today. Look at this big wax covered bottle. This is Surly Darkness, the 2016 edition. This was sent to me by Chris. Guys, I did the 2012 edition. It was Beer Review 900 many moons ago. Chris contacted me and said he was going to send this to me, so I got it. I got it yesterday. Today is the 24th, so I got it on yesterday, which was the 23rd. Figured I'd go ahead and do it. A lot of times I save these specialty beers with the wax and stuff on them for the big numbers, you know, 2,600, 2,700, 2,800. But I figured I would go ahead and get this out, put it in the fridge when I got it, and it's been in there 24 hours, so I think it's chilled down enough to go ahead and review it. I thought it was very impressive when I did this back on Beer Review 900. I went back and looked, and it blowed me away. It blowed my hair back, my socks off. I gave it a 10. Not so sure I'm going to go to that category now. My palate has changed substantially since Beer Review 900. I've had a lot of very tasty, world-class, outstanding beers since I got this. And Matt sent me the one back in 2012 that I posted in January of 2013 for Beer Review 900, like I said. We're going to find out what this one brings. And as all y'all know, I'm not a big fan of these big wax-covered bottles. The big bottles don't bother me, but putting wax on it, they do that to be able to charge more for the beer. I don't really think it really helps. There's a lot of people who disagree with me on that. If you're laying it down, maybe it's going to help keep the air from getting in it. But the beer is under pressure, it's under carbonation. It's trying to get out. So unless you have a problem with your capping process and the beer is leaking out, I don't see how that's going to help. But it is what it is, and we just deal with it. Let them charge more for the beer. That's basic. They got somebody standing in the bottling line, dipping each one of these bottles into the wax, and we can add a couple dollars to the price of the bottle just because we did that. That's just how I feel about it, guys. Well, now, before the review, I brought up everything on the laptops and the computers that I have here, and Beer Advocate doesn't even have this version listed. They have the 2016 barrel-aged version, but not the 2016 version like this one is. This is not the barrel-aged version. And it's got, the front of this bottle has the three-headed wolf, it looks like to me, on the front of it. And they do a different graphic for each year that they do. So, they do a very good job. Certainly, I don't think they make a bad beer. I really don't. I can't get them here. I have to rely on people like Matt and Chris and other people to send me beers of this caliber that are not distributed here in Virginia. Not this part of Virginia anyway. But anyway, like I said, we're on our own here other than what Untapped is telling us. And they say, commercial description, this massive Russian Imperial Stout brings waves of flavors, chocolate, cherries, raisins, coffee, and toffee, finished with a non-traditional close of aroma hops. Excuse me, so they are saying this is maybe a little bit of a hop-forward Imperial Stout, Russian Imperial Stout. So, we shall see. We shall see here, guys. I got to do a little carving on this wax. Untapped has this one listed at 12% ABV, and 85 IBUs. And Beer Advocate had the 2016 listed for like 10%. It doesn't have it on the bottle. I wish they would put it on the bottle since they're doing a different graphic every year to let us know what we're buying, what we're drinking. I did not see it. So, let's see if we can get the old trusty knife out here and do a little carving on this wax. See if we can get it off without having any little pieces go down in the beer. Hope everybody, while I'm doing this, I hope everybody got a chance to check out the local newspaper, local Roanoke Times newspaper article, local around here, did on me a couple days ago. I want to say thanks to Barry, the guy that wrote the article, and Stephanie, the photographer that he brought with him. Very nice people. They did an excellent job on the article. A lot of people commented on those posts that I did when that come out in Sunday's paper. Guys, I just try to do an honest job. I don't pull any punches. If the beer is excellent, outstanding, world class, I'll tell you that. If it's not, I'm going to tell you that also. Whether I bought it or somebody has sent it to me, this wax is super thick here, guys. Please bear with me here. Coming off in little bitty pieces. That's why I am not a fan of this wax. Not a fan of the wax job, guys. I think it's like tits on a boar hog. It's a useless process that just lets them charge more for the beer. I've not had a beer that I've cellared that I've had a problem with the air getting in it. Ever. Over 2,800 beer reviews, and I've never had a problem. And I've got beers downstairs in the fridge that are 10 years old plus, and I have opened them up and not had any problem with that in there. So, and you hear the air conditioner cutting on. It's been kind of warm. It got up to 88 degrees today, which is fairly warm for this time of year. It's usually in the 70s now, but that we're getting into the fall. All right, let's get it open and see what kind of hiss we get. Just a little hiss, not much. And they have put a super heavy wax job on this bottle. Wow. I don't want any of these little pieces of wax going down into the glass. That would suck. Wax is for candles as far as I'm concerned, guys. It does not belong on a beer bottle. Alright, into the glass we go. While I'm pouring this, the food pairings says here general chocolate dessert digestive. Glass by the pint Becker 9 tumbler snifter. I got my favorite snifter today, guys, and can be cellar for a long period of time. Can't think of a single reason why you could not cellar this. And I never lay my beer bottles down, so I don't know why the wax is that important. I always leave them standing up. It's not wine. It's not got a cork in the top of it that you need to keep wet. Just my opinion. Over to the light, guys. It is pitch black. About a quarter finger of head on that pour. Let's get it to the nose. Rich roasted malt, caramel, toffee, molasses, hints of some raisins and dark fruit in there. Maybe a slight hint of some bittersweet chocolate, not getting any vanilla or anything at this stage, but I just opened it up. It's going to, every time I put my nose to it, every 10, 15, 30 seconds or more, it's going to open up a little bit more. That's why I let it go, come up to room temperature while I'm sipping on it, come back from final chug, and it's room temperature. I do that for just about 99.9% of every beer, unless it's a lager or something. Smells pretty good. Let's dive in, see what we have. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Chris. Pretty tasty beer. Right now, the only thing I would say to make this beer better is to put it in a bourbon barrel, and they did a bourbon barrel version of that too. I can't imagine what that costs. Chris did not tell me what this costs. I would not be afraid to say this was a $20 to $25 bottle of beer. Very nice. Very, very nice beer. Strong roasted malt, almost to the burnt characteristics. And there's some licorice or tobacco in there. A slight hint of bittersweet chocolate. So let's let this come up to room temperature. Let me sip on it for a little bit, pour her a glass, and we'll come back and figure out what we're going to give this thing for a grade. Not so sure it's going to get to 10 this time. Stick around. Alright guys, I'm back. Been sipping on about 30 minutes or so. Very tasty beer. Now I'm going to get into my rant. The wax is useless to me. When I did this beer for Beer Review 900 on the 2012 edition, I thought it was the best thing I'd ever tasted just about. With 1900 more beer reviews, it still is a very tasty beer. But there are some things that I think they should do to make the beer better, other than putting it in the bourbon barrel. This is, I'm sure, a pricey beer to buy. I would not be surprised if it wasn't a $25 or more bottle of beer. Chris, you may post in the comments what this costs. I think Chris works at a beer store. And Chris, if you're going to send me anything else, contact me first, because you have a signature required on this, and we send it to the house. Beers that I get that need a signature, I have them sent to my shop. So if there's somebody there, there's nobody here during the day to sign for a package, and they have to come multiple times, and then we have to go across town to pick up the beer. Those beers I usually have sent to the shop since I'm there, and they deliver it and I sign for it. There's no problem. So back to the beer. It is a little strong on the bitterness. I think they should have used a little lactose in the brewing process, give it a little bit more sweeter, even body to the beer. Something that's a little tastier than all that strong bitterness that I'm getting on the beer. And then use a little bit of either flaked or some kind of oats to give it just a little creamier mouthfeel. I do think it's an 8 beer, but I really don't think it's a 10, guys. Final joke. It is a tasty beer. It is a pricey beer. You can buy beers without the wax on them that are between 9 and 12% for half of this money. I haven't had the barrel aged version of any of the stuff from Surly that I can recall. They did do a barrel aged version or barrel version of this, which I have not had. That would be a nice supplement to the beer to give a little bit of that bourbon notes. And you could always take a jigger of bourbon and pour it in your glass of something like this, and to get those bourbon barrel or bourbon notes. But there's a couple of things that I think they could do to make it a more balanced beer with the lactose and the oats. Like I said, I think it's an 8 beer, but it's not a 10 to me, guys. I'm going to give it a 98. And like I told you, Beer Advocate doesn't even have this particular version listed. They have the 2016 barrel aged version, but not the regular version listed. I couldn't find it. I'm sure somebody's going to post, oh, here it is. I don't jump through hoops, guys. I type it in, then I go to their, if I don't see it listed, and all the beers that Surly Darkness has, I'll go to I'll click on Surly, and then see all the beers they have listed, and if it's not listed in either 2 of those places, I'm done. I don't jump through hoops. I don't go to the sites to figure out what I've got or anything like that. It should be listed. Untapped usually is pretty good about that, and they did have it listed here. 2016 non-bourbon barrel aged version of this. Like I said, 98 for me, guys. It is a 9 beer. If it had the ABV listed on the bottle, whether it was a 10 or a 12 or whatever, they're only going to brew this beer once with this label on it, so they can put that on there. The 2017 is going to have a different graphic on it, and I just don't understand why they don't put the ABV on there. If they had, they would get at least one more grade point from me. But still, even having that graphic, it's still going to be a little on the bitter side, and it's still not going to have the creamy mouthfeel that I'm looking for in a 10 beer of a Russian Imperial Stout. So that's just me, just my opinion. So, Untapped has the 2016 version at 4.39, which is their A category. I agree, that's where I'm putting it. So, if you've had this one from Surly, this is their regular edition of the Darkness 2016, not the Bourbon Barrel Aged version. Let me know what you think, guys. It is a very tasty beer, but it didn't get to 10 this time. A lot more beers under the belt now, and I've had just as good beers for a lot less money than I think probably Chris or anybody that shops at a beer store that has this is going to pay for it. It's just my opinion though. And it's sensible to buy you coffee somewhere unless you're going to Starbucks, and you might have to add another $5 to that to get what you're drinking. Alright guys, till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.